Okay. So I am going to assume that we're going to have more and more people coming in. So I'm going to try and juggle letting people in while I also talk. This should be entertaining for all of you. So you're welcome in advance. So I am Jordana McGonigal. I'm the founder of the Recon Network. Oh, sorry. Been a long day already. Founder of the Recon Network. And really, really excited to welcome you guys into this cohort. This is our first class on this cohort. We've had this program for 5 years now. This is the first time that we have launched it in a format with this kind of structure. And so I'm really, really excited about the potential that it holds in this structure. So congratulations, first of all. We had a very, very long list of applicants. We picked those who seemed to us, and we did a few small interviews with a few of you to really be in a position to need what we offer. And that is not necessarily job placement, but really helping find out what your path forward is and find direction and figure out like what's next, right? There's a lot that goes on in the transition process. It's more than just finding a job. It's about finding yourself in a lot of cases. It's about finding purpose, finding a job that fits you and that you want to be at, and having a network along the way that supports you and encourages you those. So I'm really excited about this. A few little basic housekeeping things. One, we're recording because life happens, and we've already had one of our cohort members say, hey, I can't make it. I got called into work. You know what? That's fine. So we will always catch up and make room for life when it happens. We do real life here. Okay. So this cohort is a place of safety, regardless of what is going on in your life. And that means if it's a toddler running through the room, or a cat sticking their tail up in front of your camera, or you need to grab food on the way to do something else, we understand. This is an informal place. This is a place for you to be just fine. You're not interviewing. You don't have to get dressed up. You just come as you are to these cohort sessions, to these kickoffs, and feel free to be your true and authentic self. That's really what we're here to do, is really to help you find out who you are. And so we don't want to in any way quash that for you guys. The only thing that we do ask is that when possible, have your camera on so that we can see you, so that we can kind of start building these relationships. This is virtual, so it is a little bit trickier than an in-person cohort, but it is still doable. And I'm really excited about the capacity for us. We've got people from the entire United States here, so really excited about that. And then the only other etiquette thing is mute yourself when you're not talking, especially if the dog is going off or the toddler is asking 50 questions. That's the time to hit the mute button. And if you don't, I will help you with that. But generally, we just want you to be able to come in and relax when we do this. So I want to take a brief minute to explain what the cohort is. I know a lot of you already know because you applied for it, right? Hopefully you had a little bit of an inkling what it is. And then there's a few people that I want to introduce before we get really into the nuts and bolts of the program. So this cohort, everyone in this cohort has a very common situation. And I will mention this, confidentiality is #1 priority in this cohort. So anything that you or your peers say doesn't leave this place, and anything that you say to me does not leave. However, I will say this, all of the issues that each of you expressed on your intake form and on your application are multiplied. There is not one single person who is going through any of the things that you are going through and the only one in here doing that. So I want to say that to encourage you, because this is about commonality. This is about the fact that you don't have to feel like you're the outsider because you don't know what's next. You don't have to feel like you should have it together, because guess what? None of us have it together. I don't have it together. I mean, I'm still pulling together stuff for our coaches like 5 minutes before this meeting. So none of us have it together. We're just doing the best that we can. What this is an opportunity. This is 8 weeks of opportunity for you to do the hard work of self-exploration. Okay, we're going to talk about things like roles and how they affect how you work within the world. We're going to talk about values and how that affects how you, the lens that you view the world through. We're going to talk about identity and the shift that you have to make with your identity when you're coming out of service and going into a civilian workforce. We're going to talk about finding purpose and meaning. We're going to talk about job fit, soft skills like time management and goal setting. And all of those things are an opportunity for you. We're going to guide you along the path, but this is what you make of it. If you don't put in the work, you won't get anything out of it. So I always say, hey, these kickoff meetings, they're required. They are, because I want you to get the most out of it as possible. But if something happens, go take care of it. Just know that if you're constantly shrugging off peer meetings, if you're constantly kind of listening to the coursework in the background while you're doing something else, that's about the same return that you will get out of it. So this is my encouragement to you to really spend the next 8 weeks. You've committed to this program. Spend the next 8 weeks focused on yourself, on figuring out what it is that you want and how we're going to help you get there. Okay, so that is kind of my blanket statement. I know I have done this type of hard work on myself. I know how rewarding it is. And I also know it is very, very hard. And there are sometimes that being introspective is one of the most painful things that you're going to go through. For that reason, we have built in a wide support system into this cohort. It's multi-tiered, and we're going to introduce you to some of those tiers right now. I will get to the coaches as soon as I can, but the first thing I want to do is recognize some of our partners in this effort. We have a number of partners who either support us financially or support us through referral processes and that kind of thing. And I really want to recognize some of them right now. So the first one, I'll just call you out as I see you come in. So the first one, Carolina Handling, they are our top corporate partner at the moment, and they are just fantastic. If you are in the Southeast, if you are looking for a position, they do, and I don't want to mess this up, guys, so like bear with me. They will correct me as soon as I get off the mic, but logistics management and movement, right? So forklifts and all of that kind of stuff. They are an amazing crew to work for. If you haven't seen any of my posts on LinkedIn, they are the ones who did the pallet project last fall that set a world record. It's really amazing. Go find that if you can. But I would like to, I see both Kathy and Liz here, so I will just welcome Carolina Handling. Guys, can you take a few minutes and just let us know what you guys are up to?
Sure. Thank you so much, Jordana. We're really excited to be part of this group. And I know that, the application process that you guys went through was pretty extensive. So first of all, congratulations on behalf of Carolina Handling for making it into this. I think it's a great opportunity, and just sitting here and listening to what you all are going to have the opportunity to partake in is really encouraging. So I'm Liz Hunter, and Kathy Vass is also on the call as well. So I am our learning and development manager, and Kathy approached me a couple weeks ago and asked if I would partake in being able just to introduce myself to you all. So I kind of have a unique background, which is why she tapped me on the shoulder. But to kind of back up from why I'm here, I want to tell you guys a little bit more about Carolina Handling. So we are here in the Southeast. So I'm here in Charlotte, and Kathy is down in Greenville, South Carolina. But we've been a company since around 1966, and we do cover the Southeast. And we basically move product we help you get products in a warehouse from point A to point Z. So we're the reason that Amazon packages make it to your door as quickly as they do. I like to describe us as kind of an interior decorator for a warehouse. So anything that you find within the four walls of a warehouse is something that our company can do for you. And we're headquartered here in Charlotte. And the unique thing about us is we have about 13% of our workforce that is current or former military. So we definitely take a lot of pride in who we are and are so appreciative of not only what our associates do for the company, but what they've done for the country as well. So, thank you to all of you as well for your service. We greatly appreciate it. And I've been with Carolina Handling for a little over 8 years now as the learning and development manager now, but I actually started with the company as a recruiter. So I interviewed a lot of individuals and really tried to figure out, who is it at our company that is going to be a fit? And if you knew something about me and my background, I was an elementary school teacher for 11 years prior to coming to Carolina Handling. So, that's not the natural job progression to go from teaching 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds to now working for a material handling company. Not at all where I thought my life would go and my life would take me. And I very much found myself in a position after 11 years in the classroom where I knew I needed to make a move, but I didn't know what that move was going to be necessarily. And I had to do a ton of soul searching, a ton of really trying to think through, what do I enjoy? What am I good at? What's going to make me feel fulfilled at the end of the day? And ultimately, it boiled down to I want to help people and I want to make a difference in their lives. So to kind of get out of education and get a foot in the door, I started recruiting. Got to do that for 5 years with Carolina Handling. And then ironically enough, I was recruiting on the role that I'm in now. And I found myself, the more and more that I talked about it, the more I wanted to do it. And so I finally threw my name in the hat for it, got the position, and I've been in it for 3 years now. And to see my career kind of come full circle where I'm back to teaching, I'm back to facilitating, I'm back to, writing lesson plans. Now my students are just a little bit bigger, but, I'm really able to I still have to tell people like, hey, be quiet, put your mics on mute in the virtual world. Still have to do assignments for me, that type of stuff. But it's been really nice for me to kind of come full circle and to be able to be part of a company that has allowed me to come full circle as well has been extremely exciting. So, I don't know, Jordana, if you're looking for anything else for me to kind of touch on, but that's me in a nutshell. I'm happy to be here.
Liz, thank you so much for coming by and just kind of sharing that with us. But thank you to Carolina Handling just for their support of this and of a lot of our other programs. You guys have been a real backbone for us, and we appreciate you guys.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Happy to do it.
All right, so I see that Brian Arrington just popped in. Brian, are you connected?
He looks frozen to me.
He does look a little frozen. Are you frozen? Oh, and he's gone.
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay, so we're going to skip Brian. We'll come back. Marina, I want you to go ahead if you can. Marina is with the Military Women's Collective. They have been a great partner of ours. And Marina, can you just take a minute or two and share what you guys do?
Oh, absolutely. So we're kind of a two-prong nonprofit. We work with active duty military women and women veterans to assist with the transition process. And then also the other side is we assist homeless and food insecure women veterans, make sure they get resources, make sure they get hygiene products and things like that. So yeah, that's me.
And if you don't know Marina, she's a powerhouse. You need to connect with her on LinkedIn. She's also with 4Block as well, which is a great resource for those of you who want to take a next step toward career finding and the actual hard work of like the resume and all that kind of stuff. Like it's a great transition. So we may be hearing from Marina again in the future. So thank you, Marina, for coming by. Brian, I know we've got you now. Would you,
Can
and
you
some
hear
of
me?
y'all may know him. Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
So,
there's a delay.
all right, well, go ahead and take a minute or two and just tell us about you and Vets to Industry if any of our guys don't already know you.
Yeah, really appreciate you letting me come on, and congratulations to the class. It's awesome getting finished with this cohort. So, first of all, Vets Industry is a free resource library. We have over 1,000 free resources, services, benefits, and scholarships on our website, completely vetted, all for you, whether or not you're still serving on active duty, guard, reserve, if you're a transitioning service member, a veteran, a military spouse, or if you have a Gold Star family member, or if you have a caregiver in your family. So we have resources for everybody on there. We also have the ability for you to create a candidate profile where if you're looking for careers, you create a candidate profile under who we serve under veteran, and then employers will be able to search your candidate profile and send you direct messages. And you put like how many or what kind of jobs you're looking for, if you have a clearance or not, if you're willing to relocate, little bio, and upload your resume. The next thing, the second pillar that we do is we do these virtual networking events every single month where we get about 350 to 500 people that come on the call. And we bring 30 to 45 recruiters from all around the country. Some of the big names: Amazon, Google, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, FEMA, Honda, and the list goes on, who are all looking to hire transitioning service members and veterans. We also have veteran service organizations come on to talk about their services and resources, and we have colleges and universities come on to talk about their degree programs and any scholarships.
Awesome. Well, and we've got for all the cohort members, we've got the V2I networkings mapped on the calendar. Now, tomorrow, Brian, is for military spouses, correct?
So no, it's for everybody. The keynote speaker gives something about military spouses, like a topic, but everybody should come. We're gonna have recruiters there looking for hiring veterans and military spouses and service members that are transitioning. So come, make sure you register. It's free. You don't have to stay the whole time, but you're gonna get addicted if you come on there. You're gonna get really addicted. And make sure you have a 30-second elevator pitch kind of prepared, but you'll get better as the breakout rooms go on.
And you can learn how to do that 30-second elevator pitch in 4 block.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Way to pin that up there.
Way to go,
Yeah,
Marina.
she's not lying.
Well, so I will send out everybody, I will send that link out tonight for the registration for V2I. If you can make it, Brian is not lying. It is an experience. You know, you look at it and you're like, oh my goodness, 4 or 5 hours of networking. And I tell you, you get really lost in it because you are just like meeting so many cool new people and getting to talk in different groups and that kind of thing. So Brian, thank you so much for stopping in. We will definitely have you back. Oh,
we have a webinar tomorrow, one of our quarterly webinars at noon Eastern time, and the Department of Labor Vets OBTT, off-base transition training, and teams transitioning employment assistance for military spouses will be talking about those two programs that I just learned about three weeks ago. And it's for veterans, for military spouses. It dives deep into what you should have learned at TAP. There's like 10 different classes you can take. It's all free. It's all virtual. Come at noon, sign up, and it's about an hour, and you're going to learn so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate it. All right. So it looks like our other few partners haven't popped in. They were kind of juggling meetings over in Mountain Zone. So if they come in, we will introduce them, but I'm sure you'll get to meet some of them along the way as we kind of go through. So what I want to do now is walk you guys through the cohort process and what to expect. So for our partners, if you've got a piece out, now is the perfect time. If you want to stay, you're more than welcome to hear how we're going to be doing things. But I want to give you kind of free reign to run, because I know on the East Coast it's getting to be dinner time. So we will walk through the cohort process. I'm going to give you a peek behind the scenes of the platform that we're using that you'll be able to kind of get into, and talk just a little bit about how we're going to be able to use this. So one of the things that we have tried to do with this cohort is provide you with a number of degrees of support, realizing that some people have stronger inherent support networks, friends, family, depending on, how close you live to someone or how removed you are from others. Everyone has different varying degrees of support in their own life. So what we wanted to do is ensure that everyone had at least a basic support system here. And we've done that with a couple of different things. One, you have this cohort group. Again, everything you mention in here is confidential. It is nobody's business outside what happens within these virtual walls, or within the actual platform. You also have a peer accountability group. So you will have 2, possibly 3 people in a group that you will check in with every week and just see, hey, how are you doing? How are you holding up? You said that last week you said that this was a challenge for you. How are you doing with that? Blah, blah, blah. So being able to support each other as you are going through the same challenges is vital. There are certain things that I can't support you well on because I've already been there, and it's kind of talking down to the situation. I want you to have a support network that's beside you on this journey. So that is what your peer network group is for. And then we have our coaches. And so for 4 different times, obviously I will be here the entire time helping guide and respond to questions and everything. But along the path of the next 8 to 9 weeks, oh, Marina, there's the cat butt. I knew it was coming. Along the next couple of weeks, you will have 4 different opportunities to meet with a personal coach individually. And what this is an opportunity for you to talk through the individual challenges that you're facing in a completely confidential environment with one of our coaches. I'm going to introduce those coaches to you. 2 of them are here. Scott, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and then I will take care of Sean and Marcel, who couldn't make it here tonight with us. So Scott, can you introduce yourself as one of our coaches, please?
I can. Hi, Scott Wynn. I'm located in lovely Baltimore, Maryland, Charm City, USA, or a suburb thereof. 26 years in uniform, 10 years active Air Force, got hit on the head, switched over, went to the Army, and was enlisted for 15 years, went through OCS, got hit on the head again, became a second lieutenant, retired as a captain after being a staff officer, company commander, and military intelligence was my field for all 26 years. And when I left active duty, it was right after the end of the Reagan presidency, so I'll date you a little bit. I went into the Guard and had another 15, 16 years of part-time military while I had a civilian career in business development, sales, product management, coaching, consulting. So now I'm a freelance and do mostly coaching and consulting, business growth, helping executives to solve hard problems, usually around people working together, people getting along. Master's degree in leadership and management, and love doing what I'm doing. So I met Jordana and said, hey, I want to raise my hand and help. And I brought in a couple of colleagues and longtime friends to the crowd that Jordana is going to talk about next.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Yeah, you'll be seeing Scott around, hanging out. You'll also see, and I will add their information to the platform as we go along. But you'll probably also see Marcel Munitolo. I think I'm saying that right. Marcel has been an entrepreneur. I'm reading this off because I really don't want to skip over the important stuff, and there's like a lot of important stuff in his bio. So Marcel's been an entrepreneur and a business development consultant for over 25 years. He's currently a professor of strategic management with a focus on artificial intelligence in the School of Business at Robert Morris University, where he teaches graduate and undergraduate courses in strategic management, data analytics, sustainability, and corporate social responsibility. He's an Amazon Web Services accredited instructor, an AWS certified cloud practitioner, and a Six Sigma certified black belt. He has earned a doctorate of philosophy and business strategy from the Joseph M. Katz Graduate School of Business, University of Pittsburgh. He's a distinguished fellow with the International Center for Conflict Resolution at the University of Pittsburgh and leads conflict resolution discussions. He's also conducted research studies for Shell Appalachia, the United Way of Allegheny County, the National Collaborative for Gun Violence Research, and led the strategic planning process for many organizations. He is former U.S. Army military intelligence company commander with multiple deployments. So a few of you will get Marcel as your coach. So now you know a little bit about him. And I will also introduce Sean Quinn, who is our other coach. Sean is an experienced FBI unit chief, supervisory special agent, and case agent of 23 years with a history of success in high-profile cases involving gangs, narcotics, white-collar and corporate crime, and undercover work. He's skilled in engagement leadership, case management, public policy, intelligence analysis, physical security tactics, criminal investigations, and surveillance. He is a military, 23 years in the Army Infantry CPT retired, or captain. Jeez, can't even read right today, and protective services professional with a Master of Professional Studies focused on the psychology of leadership from Penn State University. Since retiring from the FBI, he works in corporate security in the petroleum industry. He's also a licensed private investigator, working with legal teams, training law enforcement, and conducting active shooter trainings for various organizations. So some of you will get Sean as your coach. And the rest of you who don't have Marcel, Scott, or Sean will get me. And, we can cry about that together a little bit. But my background is I spent a good 20 years in media and marketing. I am not a veteran. Most everyone in my family is, but I started the Recon Network back in 2015 as an outshoot of a business magazine that I was the publisher of that time, and decided immediately that it had to be bigger than what it was. We started in South Carolina. We are now a nationally focused organization based out of Greenville, South Carolina. So if you're ever around the area, I'd love to show you around. But we are specifically focused on something very, very different than everyone else. And I'm very excited about being able to provide that. So I want to get into the actual platform, but before I do that, the whole purpose of this is for us to get to know you. So I'm going to call out your name, and I would love for you to take a minute or two. Again, this is a great time to practice that elevator pitch that Marina just dipped out on. But tell us, who you are, where you're at, what's your, at least the basic transition story, as much as you're willing to share. And, if you have an idea of where you're going or why you ended up here, we'll just start with Brian Richardson. I'm just going to start where my top left is. So Brian, welcome to the cohort.
Thank you. So Brian Richardson, about 20 years in the Army now. I'm less than 30 days from the beginning of my terminal leave, so retirement is just over the horizon, which is awesome. I'm moving from Fort Bragg / Fort Liberty, North Carolina, down into South Carolina, down into McCormick. So funny, I was just in Greenville about an hour and a half ago visiting family. So
Oh, you got muted. There you go.
Yeah. 20 years, I said 20 years in military, psychological operations, multiple deployments, enjoyed every minute of it, love being an airborne paratrooper. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in psychology. Really looking towards doing team and leadership development of some kind. Industry agnostic, but I'd like to keep my options open. And I don't want to work forever, so I'd like to see a light on the tunnel as far as that goes. But looking forward to a lot more self-discovery, just a little bit more of a glimpse of who I am and why I do what I do, and getting to know everyone through this cohort. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. Glad to have you here. Aaron.
Hi, Jordana and everybody else. I'm Aaron. I work in Greenville. I live in Simpsonville. And Brian, I have a master's in psychology too, so maybe we should psychoanalyze everybody while they chat. I have 21 years in. I will be starting transition leave about January of next year. I don't really know what I want to do when I grow up yet. And my son, who's graduating high school, says the same thing, so we have that in common. I'm looking at consulting, management analyst, project management, all the things that I've been doing. I just have to learn how to say them in civilian speak. One of the things that I struggle with is I have a rank that if I walk in, everybody shuts up and listens to me, and I know that's not going to happen on the civilian side. So it's just like, who am I now without that on my chest? So I'm looking forward to talking with all of you and going through this process with everybody. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. All right, Patrick.
All right, so I'm going to deviate off a little bit here and then go into my elevator pitch. So, interesting thing, I know Marina and Brian. So I am just started a volunteer with Vets to Industry. Also going through the 4-block program. So I highly recommend 4-block. I would also highly recommend looking at Vets to Industry. But besides that, so I've been in the Army for 23 years. My background for the last 13 years is contracting and acquisitions. Before that, I was infantry for 10 years. I can't really come in the Army as contracting and acquisitions. Have my MBA with UNC Chapel Hill. Really trying to not so much transition, but go into project management and contract management, either within the defense industry or the tech industry. And then I'm hoping to help out Brian's organization with business development and actually getting really companies on board with sponsoring V2I in general.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Patrick. Eric, how are you doing? He got called up. He wasn't ready.
Had to find that mute button. Gets us every time. All right. Good evening, everybody. Eric Bamberg, 25 and a half years in right now. So I'm about 30 days out as well for my starting my transition leave. So I'll do that, and then I've applied to go into the DoD Skills Bridge program with some of the companies around here. So I'm still looking at who I'm going to be involved with, but that is my plan right now. So I have a undergrad in psychology. So Aaron, Brian, we really should get together and kind of chop it up a little bit. My master's is in human services counseling and executive leadership. So when I grow up, my career field, I'm trying to look at something in the HR realm. Been doing that for the last couple of years of my career. So it's kind of what I'm looking towards right now.
All y'all psych ops guys out there, man. Y'all just stay back. I don't need any of that. I'm wondering how many of y'all are in this room and who put you here. All right. So thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Devin.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I am not a PsyOps guy, but I too have a bachelor's in psychology as well. So I was planning on doing counseling. I had my whole life figured out, and then I realized I probably needed it more than I needed to give it. So it's been an outstanding thing. I just separated from the Air Force and transferred to the reserves after 15 years. We left Germany and packed up to move home with family. We had some health issues and some other stuff going on, and COVID really opened my eyes that life's short, and sometimes your career aspirations and what you want to do in the military you think are the most important thing, and then I don't know, have leave denied when your family's in the hospital and things start to change really quick. So I left being a logistician, air transporter there, and kind of thought I was just going to move into operations, project management, do what everyone did. Landed at SkillBridge, started working for a marketing company, doing a little bit of government contracting, some other things. And as I started to apply for jobs and the rejections started to roll in, I realized that maybe the path of transition quite isn't as smooth as you might think it is. So, been working through that process, trying to figure out who I am and who I'm going to be in the world, and just really excited to be here with everyone. I'll have to come by Greenville. We have a lot of good friends there. It's just a couple hours away. So, I'm really glad to be here and really thankful for everyone to be just part of this process. So, thanks.
Thank you, Devin. I appreciate it. All right, Brian Hines.
Team, what is going on?
Hey.
I am currently stuck, and I say stuck out here at JBLM just because this is not my place to be out here in Washington. It rains all the time, but currently relocating out to Michigan. So I'm going to switch the rain to snow. Not sure that there's logic in that, but that's just where we want to plant the flagpole. But I've been in for about 20 years. I think I'm the only infantry guy in here that's pursuing an HR degree or has an HR degree, just because honestly, for the past 15 years, that's kind of what you, as a platoon sergeant and a first sergeant and a sergeant major, that's kind of what you end up doing is the human resources background, you're administrative, but you're still with personnel. So for me, that's kind of what led me down the path of the human resources. Punishment is just I enjoy helping people, and I just really enjoy seeing the outcome from what I advice that I give to them, and really how that folds for them. So. But currently, yep, like I say, leaving here, terminal leave starting in August. I have a lot of leave built up, so I actually won't be out of the Army until April of 2024. But looking to make a career field in the HR realm. So just really excited to be here, really to learn from everybody. But thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. All right, John.
Hey, everybody. I feel like as everyone's talking, I got a little imposter syndrome. Everyone's got a very impressive background. I was in the Marine Corps for only 4 years. I was military police and based in Hawaii, and then got my 2-year degree on active duty. I kicked, fought, and scrapped for it. It was really hard, but luckily my higher ups were decently accommodating. And then I got out, finished that, and then I went on and finished up getting my master's because I used tuition assistance on active duty. Still had 2 years left. And then I ended up I was working security at the time and just a guard. And I ended up falling into this program, Security Technologies, and then started learning more about that and got an internship at Metro Transit Police. And I've been there for the last 9 years here in the Twin Cities, working there through the whole George Floyd stuff. We thought our building was going to get burned down. It was pretty wild, and it still is pretty wild. We just got a new chief who's been at the NYPD for like 30 years. So, and he's run 7 marathons in 7 days. So he's a huge motivator, but we'll see how this all plays out. The police are all beat up pretty much from all the protests and everything. But something happened last year where I just started. Well, I worked at the Federal Bureau of Prisons too for 10 months. I was an undergraduate at their academy in Glencoe, Georgia, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. Didn't think I expected it. I was the only one in the class that got it. But I did that for 10 months and moved on, and found myself back at security, finishing my degree. But here I am getting my master's and then my internship. And now last year, I got 3 cybersecurity certifications with the help of Vet Tech. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's the VA kind of backs that. I just, I was like, if I get in the program, my GI Bill's about to expire. And they're like, yeah, you're good. Even though your GI Bill's about to expire, as long as you get in before that, we're going to honor it and keep everything going. So I kept up my end of the bargain, and I got my Sec Plus, I got my Certified Ethical Hacker, and I got my CISSP. It's 1 month you study, you take it. Second month you study, take it. Third month, 2 months you study, and then you take your CISSP, although it's not mandatory to take it. But Sorry, my foot massager went off because it stopped. But now, yeah, I'm a little soft now, I guess. But I also started a mixture between a cyber security and a physical security business. I had to fight with my employer about that. They didn't want me to do it. I'm like, come on, you guys. I'm not here. I'm not doing anything unethical here. I'm just trying to leverage my skill set, that I just got these certs for. Meantime, I'm also trying to cross over into the cyber realm. So, in fact, today I just interviewed with the University of Vermont for like a senior security engineer, something like that. And it's been really, really, it was a good one. I mean, for trying to cross over into another industry, pretty much, because I'm sort of on the physical security side at Metro Transit Police. I deal with thousands of IP cameras and card access systems, and we support the police and we support the trains, we support the buses and all that. It's just growing everywhere. But I really wanted to cross over. Something about the cyber problems are really fascinating, in which I got exposed to in my master's program. But I don't know. In the midst of everything, I feel like I'm being pulled in all these different directions, and I'm like, what is my why? I'm still chewing on it. I'm still trying to figure it out. I got accepted into Bunker Labs this year. I've been doing that, which is it helps entrepreneur veterans. They all come together. We meet every week, and you just kind of, I mean, one guy he's an Air Force veteran who started up a drone business. He's just kind of a little hobby of his, flying it out over Lake Superior, with his geothermal camera, looking at little areas where it's hot. Next thing you know, he's got talking to a buddy at Target who works in their contracting department, who who's going to get him a contract to do some Target surveys all over the country. So it's just, I don't know. To me, I see that as a hope. When it's a little bit of risk, sure, but to me, having your own business, starting your own business is hope, because it's a lot of work, but you put into it and you network with people. And that's one thing about this whole thing that I've really taken a bath in, really, is the security certs. I did it with a cohort. The first class was like 200 people in it. They're all mostly veterans. And you go through the whole thing with veterans. And I knew I needed to start networking and not, I tend to isolate. Okay. So I knew I needed to push myself out of that. So that's what led me to Bunker Labs. It's also what led me to this. So in order to keep growing, I'm going to have to keep, you know, stepping outside my comfort zone, and that's all I got, I guess, for now. Thanks.
Well, that's good. Thanks so much, John. I remember we chatted, a month ago or so, about some of that as well. So, all right, Yogi, I think you're the last one. You want to take a few minutes and let us know who you are? You're muted though.
I was just checking, make sure. I'm just kidding. So I am still active duty. I have 21 years in the Navy. I was living in Japan last year. I was going to be retiring in Japan. That was the goal, to stay there and just retire. However, I had a medical procedure done. Didn't go quite as planned. So I ended up here in San Diego, California. So now I'm going through the med board. I could retire, just put in my papers and retire, because I am at past the 20 years. However, everything that I've researched so far points me in the direction of finishing the med board, because otherwise the VA benefits and everything else gets more complicated and convoluted if I don't take care of it now. So it is a lot more painful, at least in the short term. It's super painful going through dealing with my chain of command that is, and I'm a chief, so I'm an E7. And even then, it's still very painful, because there's a lot of people that, because they don't see what's wrong with me, they think that there's nothing wrong with me. So that's a problem, right? And as a matter of fact, I have a specific person that is targeting me to try to make my life more complicated. So that is a huge stressor in my life. Next stressor is everything that I had was in Japan. I had property over there, or I still have a property over there. And then now I'm here in San Diego, just kind of figuring out my life as I go. I'm more settled in. Since we've been here for a year. I'm married. My wife is Japanese, so that's another stressor to life, and she knows little to no English, so that's amazing. Especially since she never thought she was going to be coming to the States. And then, just the stressors of leaving. And look, originally I felt like going through the med board process was just a horrible thing. And as a matter of fact, I find that it's a blessing in disguise, because everybody that I speak to now, they are in such a rush to get out and transition that they don't file their VA claims. They don't know. There's so many things that they don't know, right? Luckily for me, I'm able to learn all of these things. And I know there's a lot more that I haven't learned, right? I get to learn all these things as I'm still in and try to prepare myself as I get out. That's how I ended up in this wonderful group, wonderful class, and I'm super excited to be here. And I apologize for being late. I thought it was at 6 p.m. my time. That would have been 3 hours from now, so I was gonna totally miss it. However, I don't know. Anyways, I'm here. So, um, because of that, there's been a lot of growth in my life. I started with there's a group here that is called the San Diego Veterans Coalition. It's 134 nonprofit organizations, focused for the military. And I started learning with them about what they do, right? So that was pretty cool. And then we started a podcast, myself and one of my buddies, senior chief also, that is also going through this process. And we decided to, in the process of us learning, we wanted to share back to, everyone, what we learned. So we started this podcast to interview every nonprofit organization that we could, to throw them out there, right? What they do, how they do it, why they're doing it, and whether or not they're good or bad. That's ultimately not my decision. I'm just there to pass the information out, right? At least yet, because I'm still way too early to know anything. But by the same token, just doing that, it was not meant as a networking thing, but it's become a networking thing. And it's become amazing. It really has. The opportunities, the things. I ended up running into this company called Overwatch, which they're doing a data center industry. And here, luckily, Synergy here in San Diego, next week they're going to be having a hiring event and a golfing event. And it's just fantastic. Things that I would have had last year would have never thought would have happened. As a matter of fact, that there's a thing called the downward spiral, when you start thinking about negative thoughts and you just keep on going and going and going, and you can't come up. I started going down that, and it was really bad. I really hit a really bad low, and I think I would say is the lowest point in my life out of my entire life. But I would like to say that I'm in the upward. Once you hit, rock bottom, you can only go up, right? So I'm in that transition. I'm in that thing, and I'm still learning. And that's another reason why I'm here, because there's so many things that I don't know. There's so many things that I want to learn, but I also need to have someone to hold me accountable. Because as I'm going through this, I've never had any issues holding myself accountable, but right now my plate is completely full. So that is the holding myself accountable has been one of those things that has just kind of completely fallen off. Even though I try to be focused and make sure that happens, it still falls off on a daily basis. There's something that falls off. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I'm an AME by trade, working with the ejection seats of the aircraft. Mate chief, 2018, possibly getting out, finishing my medical board, retiring probably by the end of the year or a little bit later. So sometime between, 3 to 6 months to a year from now, maybe 2 years. That's where I'm at in that process. It's just really begun. And eventually I want to go to school to become an electrical engineer or mechanical engineer. That's something that fascinates me, but I'm also seeing other things, but I don't want to get distracted about what I'm doing. But by the same token, I also am getting distracted because of these opportunities. There's also here in San Diego, I'm working with this company as a advisor per se, to create the first of its kind here in San Diego green housing community solely run on renewable energy, and the water that they're using also having to consume or clean itself so that they're not tapping into new resources and stuff like that. So all renewable, all that good stuff. And to create the first zero carbon footprint here. So I'm super busy, I'm super crazy. It's super fun, but it's also super draining. And I just need to make sure that I'm going in the right direction instead of just just spinning my wheels, just going nowhere. I don't know if that answered any one of the questions that was posted since I was late.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Well, I want to address something real quick. We're going to get into the platform, and I'm going to try and get y'all out of here really soon. But one thing that you mentioned, it's funny because Scott and I were having this conversation with someone earlier today. And John, you mentioned having a little bit of imposter syndrome. There's no place for that here. And I don't mean this to sound rude or anything, but I don't care about your rank. I don't care about how long you've been in. I honor it and I respect it, but just like the rest of the world out there, it has a certain lack of impact. And so what I want you to do, I don't care, 4 years, 20 years, 25, like you guys have amazing records, but you're all individuals with individual needs and experiences and beliefs and behaviors that are going to help you get to that next stage. So my job and our job as coaches is really to help you, not to strip you of any identity that you had, but to really help you expand your identity into something new. And so that's really what we are here to do. I'm super excited about it. Again, we do have different levels of support for you. I hope you guys will take advantage of those. Real quick, I'm going to walk through the platform just so you have a peek kind of behind the scenes at what this is. So starting tomorrow, probably, you will get a link that will invite you into the cohort. And this is likely what you will see. You won't see any of Jennifer Smith, who is my alter ego, in there. You will see your own stuff. And I'll just kind of walk through the different aspects of this. The first part is action items. So these are action items that you can set for yourself, that your coaches can set for you, or they are populated out of the weekly coursework that you do. Speaking of coursework, the course can be found right here. Each week we will release new modules, and they will typically have 1 or 2 or 3 videos and some worksheets. What I want to mention about this, the videos may only be 10 minutes, 20 minutes long at the most. You don't have like any hour-long things, I don't think. The worksheets are where the magic happens. The magic happens because that's where you get the chance to take the little bit of knowledge that we're going to share with you and develop it into how you see it going forward, right? So when we're talking about transition, and there will be, when you get this access tomorrow, the week starts on Monday, so we'll have accountability and support starting on Monday. But prior to that, there will be something already in there on transition and how to identify your transition. And so I think it's like a 6-minute video or something on transition, what it is, what it isn't, how to define it, all those kinds of things. And then there's a worksheet. The worksheet is where you are going to be able to really put this into practical use for yourself. And that's true for the entire course, right? We're going to teach you the boundaries. We're going to teach you the guidelines. We're going to teach you rules and ideas and concepts, but it's what you do with it that matters. So if you skip the worksheets and you don't get as much out of it, that's kind of on you. But it is an opportunity for you to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes and just sit and say, okay, what am I doing? When we're talking about identifying your transition, where are you starting from? What does that look like? Where are you going to? And if you don't know, that's okay. How long is it going to take you to get there? What are the fears that you're experiencing? All of these things will help you start the process of being introspective so that later on, when we get into really heavy stuff like purpose and identity, you're already used to doing a little bit of that deep digging and it's not as painful. Okay. So we've done this very purposefully. We've got some light ones leading into some of the heavy stuff. And then we end the courses with some soft skills that are just handy to know as you're moving forward. As you do the coursework, there's also worksheets and files that we will give you. They will show up here as well. So they're in both locations. When you click on this, it will download to your computer. It is fillable and it is printable. So if you want to print it out and write on it, that's fine. Or if you want to fill it out on the computer, it is fillable as well. So just make sure that you hit save at the end so it saves all your responses if you want to come visit them later. Each of you will be in, again, partnered with a peer accountability group. It's likely just going to be 2 of you together. When you go into the peer accountability group, you will see who your matches are, who your coach is, all the contact information and the rules, and then your check-ins. Okay. Each week you are going to meet on your own schedules. You guys decide what's going to work for you best with your peer partner. Okay. And you're going to go through certain things. You're going to talk about your wins for the week. The very first thing that we want to do in any meeting is celebrate the progress you've already made or celebrate the good things that have already happened, right? And they're all around you. You just have to be able to look for them, okay? So we're going to get in a habit of listing the wins for the week. So you're going to add those there. You're going to talk about what you learned from the course. You're going to talk about your biggest challenge coming into the week and your number 1 goal for the week. And again, this is kind of between you guys. The coaches can see them, but no one else can. So this is your chance to really be as open as you want to talk about the challenges and concerns that you're going through. And then you can put any actionable items here that you want, as you have these discussions, your partner may say, hey, you know who you should really talk to? I went through this group over here and they helped me do X, Y, and Z. Add that as an actionable item. Put it on your to-do list. Don't forget it because life gets in the way. Put it down and remember it and have it to kind of come back to. So I'll kind of go back to this. So we've gotten through the peer accountability group. And like I said, you can only see your group. You can't go diving into other people's stuff and seeing all their other stuff. That's none of your business and your stuff is none of their business. So just keep that together in there. The forum is where you can ask discussions or questions. Start a discussion. If you're really questioning something that you learned about in one of the courses, or you have a question about the cohort or a question about another resource, throw it here. There are 15 plus people who can help you answer those questions, and we would love to help wherever we can. So go ahead and put it here, and it works just like a standard forum. Your habits. All right, so we're going to get into this in week 2 when we talk about self-care, but you can start tracking your own habits. Part of being able to go through a process like this is also learning that no matter what, you have to take care of yourself if you want to be able to give anything of yourself to the people around you or to the rest of the world. So we're going to start the habit in this cohort, start good habits. We recommend a number of them. Drinking as much water as you're supposed to drink every day, getting outside, reading, moving for at least 30 minutes a day. So we have a stack of them that we want you to add in as your habits. But you can also add your own, and I encourage you to add your own as you go through this, as we talk more about habits and self-care and how to just really set a lifestyle that lends itself toward success, because that's really where we're going. Whatever you end up doing in your life, whatever that calling is, whatever that unique situation is that you've been put on this earth to do, we want to make sure you're successful in that. Okay, so all of this stuff is very, very purposeful. And then finally, our events. So, hey, we've got a waypoint coming up at the 6th at 6 p.m. Yogi should show up at the correct time. Once you set your profile in there with your correct time zone, it'll show up. Everything will be correct there. And then you can view the agenda and join the call straight from the events. On the agenda, just like your accountability check-ins, add stuff in prior to the meeting. Before our next waypoint, go ahead. Whenever you have a win, add it to the agenda so that we can celebrate with you, right? Add updates. Hey, we're finally moving, or I finally got this position, or whatever it is. The people around you are a support network, and we want to share in those big things with you. Also, discussion points. If you have a question about something you read or saw or heard, we want you to have the opportunity to talk with that amongst the group. So all of this is what you will be seeing. Your coach will be assigned to you, can see it as well, but no one else really has access to your tasks, your habits, or anything else. So you can kind of feel a little bit comfortable. What we want to do is create an environment where you can be open. You don't have to worry about anyone's reaction about anything. There's nothing that you can say that will shock any of us coaches. And there's nothing that we will judge you for. So please, where you feel comfortable, we hope that you will open up to the extent that you want to open up to. So that is pretty much everything that it comes to this kickoff. And I know it is now 7 o'clock on the East Coast, and I'm sure that there are wives and kids yelling at somebody. So if you would like to leave, feel free to leave. I'm going to hang out for a minute, answer any questions that anybody might have. And I'll just kind of stay on here until everybody's settled. But guys, I really want to thank you. We've got 3 people who didn't make it tonight. We'll bring them into the loop as soon as we can. I'll send you an email tonight with the link for tomorrow's networking, as well as the recording of this session. Actually, I'll probably just throw this into the program so you can see it there. It won't jam up your email or anything like that. But guys, I really do appreciate you joining us tonight, you coming on and just signing up to do the hard work. There are millions of people out there who will not take this step because they don't want to peek behind the curtain of what's in their own head and what's in their own heart and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm very excited for what you guys are about to go through. And I will be here every single step of the way. So if I can ever be of any help to you now, in the future, a year from now, I hope you will track me down and let me know so that I can. So without any further ado, you guys are dismissed. Please stay if you have questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Just free throw it at me. And guys, have a wonderful evening.